I got to get right to it, Hugh.
Let's do it.
Ego, man. I think you are an extremely talented football coach. But I think ego has undermined your career as a head football coach in the NFL. How do you respond?
Well, I respect your opinion. I don't really see it that way. You know, I see ego as edging out God, and God is the leader of my life. So I understand that there is a opinion about people, and as you go forward or however you go about it, people are going to have their thoughts about who you are and what you are. But at the end of the day, I think you do what you think you need to do to be successful, and that's all you can do.
We talked a little bit before the show. Your climb is incredible. From South Central Los Angeles.
Yay.
The real South Central Los Angeles.
Yes, this side of the book. This side
all
of the
the way to NFL head coach. And to me, NFL head coach is at the top of the pyramid of corporate America. And it requires a politics that if you can't tame the bravado, the confidence, the paranoia that helped you survive South Central and climb all the way up there, if once you get there, you can't tame all those elements and play the political game, that's where you fail. And that's what I see, a guy that used his bravado, his confidence, his paranoia to get to the top, but wasn't able to tame it once he got to the top.
And again, as I said, that's your opinion, and I respect that. But there is some of that. You do have to have that toughness, that swagger, as what they say now, to climb. But as you climb, you start learning different ways to deal with everybody. You know, I think what I needed to do in Oakland was much different than what I needed to do in Cleveland. You know, that was totally different situations. And so you do learn. You know, you take a little bit of what is good and what is bad, and you continue to move forward.
You admitted to me before the show, though, that in Oakland, this perhaps was an issue.
Oh, absolutely it was. I'll be the first to tell you that. I would never say that it wasn't, because I truly believed that at the time at Oakland, we needed something to get excited about. There was a ton of losing there that had gone on. So now let's fast forward to Cleveland. I didn't think that was needed, even though that situation was kind of the same. Didn't win a lot of games. I didn't come in there, you know, with a whole bunch of here we go. I just knew there were some things that needed to be done correctly to get to winning. Man,
I appreciate you being candid up here. And I guess if I want you to be candid and testify, I got to give you a little testimony.
Well, bring it on. Come on.
It's interesting. I've been the best at the position. I've had tremendous success, and then I've also been the worst out there. I mean, I went 13 sacks one season to 0 sacks and a few seasons after that, and the highs and lows, and people were sitting there on the outside. Who is that guy? Hue Jackson used to be the quarterback whisperer. He used to be the guy that could call all the plays and get the ball in the end zone. And then you flip and you look at a 3-36-1 coach. Tell me, scout Hue Jackson, what went wrong?
Hue Jackson didn't get it done, period. I mean, I don't care how you scout it. At the end of the day, you're still the head of it. I was the head of it. I wasn't able to make it happen. When I look back at it, there's a lot of things in hindsight you wish you can do different, but I didn't. And that's why I'm sitting here with you today. At the end of the day, I didn't get it done.
Yeah, but I need to bring you back into that meeting room, Coach, into that locker room, because we sat there and you know we got a double-sided one sheet.
Yes, we
Pros and cons from Peyton Manning, Tom Brady on down, and everyone has something on both sides of that sheet. I need to flip that sheet over. I'm looking at cons right now. Hue Jackson, what didn't go right or as designed in Cleveland?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think when you walk into those situations like Cleveland, you know, the lens that you're really looking through is still the lens from the coach before. So when you walk in there, I think the whole process, I know when I take a job, I'm just like any other coach. They didn't win because of me. And then once you get into it, you start to look around and go, wait a minute, it's a little bit more than what I thought it was. And then there's some things you need to work through and walk through with everybody. But at the end of the day, if you don't get everybody on the same page, if you don't get everybody pulling the rope the same way, then it may not happen the right way for you. And sometimes it might just take one thing that can make a difference in you either being in Cleveland and still coaching or sitting here right now.
One more, Coach. Okay, so we pulling this rope, and you don't need but one thing, one person. And I played before with Todd Haley, and there's a lot of conversation about your relationship. Just set the record straight. Was that a conducive relationship for you guys to go out there and be successful?
There's no doubt. It was. I mean, because we were. There was 2 games that we won. Now, are there some things that Todd and myself could have done differently as we started to move forward? There's no question about that. But as we keep talking about Todd, it was the same thing with Greg Williams. It was the same thing with Amos Jones. I mean, I was the head coach of the football team, so I'm going to have disagreements with every coach at some point in time. That just happens. But at the end of the day, I mean, we were very functional as a group to go out and compete and play.
Hugh, I don't understand how you can say that. I've heard the general manager say discord, and I've heard your explanation of it. But when I see the organization basically, to me, force an offensive play caller on you, and you may disagree with that, but that's the way it looks from the media from the outside. Okay. They forced it offensive. And then you disengage throughout the offseason and through the early part of the season. You're not in the meetings. You're not really, according to reports, you can set the record straight. Set the record straight. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you just said it. I never would disengage. So I was the head coach of the team. I was involved in defensive meetings finally, for a time that I wasn't. Still totally involved in knowing exactly what was going on offense, involved in special teams meetings, and I needed to in the beginning. I'm talking about during the offseason, give the offensive coordinator a chance to let his personality show with his staff. I didn't need to come in there, be right in there from day one and undermine what he was trying to do because that staff was put together by me. So I needed to allow him to be the best version of himself also.
They give you the greatest prize in football, the #1 pick, and it's a quarterback. And you spend the offseason disengaged?
No. Let's back up. The #1 pick wasn't there at that time. So let's get this right. I said when he first came in, when the coordinator first came in, there was no draft picks at that time. Once the draft pick was on the team, I knew exactly what we were doing in offense, and I was in those meetings. So to say that I wasn't, I don't know where that came from.
And you don't feel like that John Dorsey is sitting there saying, because again, according to reports and some of the quotes I've seen your name on, you were wanted back control of play calling and tried to go to Jimmy Haslam, the owner, to get it. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. At the end, that's after watching everything from training camp to preseason through 8 games of the regular season, finally looking and saying, wait a minute, this is not trending in the right direction for our offensive football team and for the quarterback.
And so how could he not say, that's the discord he's talking about? I'm the general manager. You report to me. You're going to the owner to try. Why aren't you going through John Dorsey?
Back up. I didn't report to John Dorsey. See, you got this wrong.
Okay.
That's not the way the organization.
Set the record straight.
That's not the way the organization was set up.
That's
the organization was set up. Hue Jackson reports to Jimmy Haslam and then talks to John Dorsey. So both of those guys knew exactly where I was. That discord that we're talking about has nothing to do with John Dorsey thinking that you were undermining him by going to Jimmy. Has nothing to do with it.
How about your comments in the media publicly where, again, from the outside, it looks like that looks like discord when you're talking to the media about, I need to get back involved with the offense. They obviously need some help. That, to me, was a signal to somebody that you were unhappy with the current setup, because I just don't believe coaches are that transparent with the media.
It wasn't the current setup. I was unhappy with the way we were playing in the first half of games. If you go back and check it, you'll see that we were struggling in the first half of games. If I knew if I could flip that and make that better, then we had a chance to win.
By the script?
Not so much by the script. Flip it by whatever I thought was going to be necessary to fix, to get our team to play better in the first half. So when I looked at that, all I said is I wanted to help. Now, the sound bites and all those other things that come out, I don't get to control those. I said I wanted to go back in and help, and then what was said to me is, well, why would you want to do that? And I know why people would say, why? Well, you 1-15, 0-16, people forgot that you can coach offense. So what I said is, hey, looky here, it shouldn't matter what you guys are thinking. I'm the head coach. You know, as a head coach, you can walk into whatever unit that you want to and make those particular decisions. That's all that was about.
Take me to your darkest moments in its almost 3 years of being the head coach. I mean, keep it South Central, too. If we ever saw a coach, like, you're not going to Dorsey High School like you did and saying, yeah, I'm going to play for the coach that won 3 games in the last 3 years. You were that coach at the highest level in the NFL. The deepest frustrations you had when you were at your darkest place?
Oh, my gosh. There were so many. Because I don't like losing. I mean, losing is not why you take these jobs. You don't take these jobs to be on 16 and 1-15. You take these jobs to win. To every week have to get up in front of that team and motivate them to get them to compete and play and find a way to do everything you can to put them in position to compete. That was tough. That was hard within itself. And again, I thank the organization for always assisting me and doing whatever I thought was needed to continue to motivate these men week in and week out to play as hard as they could.
Listen, Hue, it sounds like I'm being incredibly hard on you.
Bring it on.
I'm actually
being easy.
I'm being hard on myself because I swear I see a lot of myself in you. You work under Marvin Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Lewis, to me, the reason why he survived is because he knew how to walk that delicate balance between I'm going to be cool with the players, but I'm also going to have a relationship with management.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I've struggled in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I like to manage down, and I don't manage up well at all. And I've had to course correct on that. And I see you as a player's coach that doesn't manage up that well.
Well, I will say to you again, I don't think you've been around me or no, because that's not the case at all. I still, to this day, have good relationships with Jimmy Haslam and Dee Haslam, and
They
hopefully
just
John.
fired you.
But that don't mean that you have bad relationships. At the end of the day,
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. To you, it does. So in my mind, they fired a man for a job he was doing. They didn't fire the person. They fired the man and the job he was doing. I didn't win enough
Part
games.
of the job is managing the people above you and managing the people on the ground.
Well, but I still, like I said, to me, when you look at these situations, at the end of the day, we didn't win enough games, period. There's no other way.
Hugh,
that you
I
can
don't
look
think
at it.
anybody that's ever watched you coach doesn't believe you're a good football coach, a very good football coach. And so when I hear John Dorsey and what they said was not that you're a bad coach, they said you've managed this situation improperly. That's what they said.
Well,
you're in denial of that.
No, well, you can say I'm in denial. I don't think that what was said that way about internal discord, which that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the number one reason why Hue Jackson's not sitting there.
Wow.
I don't think
what was the number one reason?
Winning. We did not win enough games. And number two, the one guy who is the most important guy of that organization was trending downwards, the quarterback.
Hugh, I could sit here and say, I had a lot of success in my career, but I still managed up poorly. And so you're right. Winning covers up all kinds of weaknesses and people overlook all kinds of things. That doesn't mean that you were there wasn't discord in your relationship, not just with your assistant coaches, but with John Dorsey and Jimmy Haslam as well.
Well, I will agree with you this way, Coach. I mean, let's be real. If you go 0-16 and then 1-15, and you still survive that to come back and coach a third year, maybe you are managing up pretty well, because nowhere else are you looking at a 1-31 coach and you're saying, give him another opportunity. I will go here, though. We always heard that the reason we didn't win is because ABC. And I'm not hearing enough of the ABC to see why you didn't win when you have a collection of NFL players.
Right, but at the end of the day, Marcellus, it doesn't matter about ABC because I was at the top. So when you're at the top, you got to take that responsibility. At the end of the day, it was mine to do. I wasn't able to get it done, plain and simple.